Hello everyone, we are Group 6 and welcome to the charity channel of Gurung Blogger ng Kuwait by Sir Romel Ramos. Today we're going to be presenting our essential questions of media and information literacy. Hopefully you enjoy.
Hey everyone, I'm Cesar and I will be answering these following questions. What is media and information literacy, and what is its role in our day-to-day lives? Well, as we all know, social media has taken the entire world by storm. It is commonly used by our generation in everyday life, with devices, websites, and applications that allow us to interact with each other. It is pretty much present everywhere we go nowadays, especially in a time where we are required to physically distance ourselves in the middle of a pandemic. Now, media and information literacy comprises of the information, the demeanors, and the entirety of the skills required to know when and what data is required, where and how to get that data, how to assess it fundamentally and sort out once it's found, and how to utilize it in an ethical way. Media and information literacy aims to empower people to think critically about the media and the information they consume by engaging in a process of inquiry. It can also help people learn how to determine whether something is considered credible or not.
Good morning everyone, today I'll be talking about information literacy. What is information literacy? Well, information literacy is the ability to express one's knowledge, use, which is known as information literacy, to address an information need, the ability to find, locate and access relevant sources of information required, the ability to accurately recognize, locate and interpret and use information is referred to as information literacy, regardless of the language used, whether it's computer literacy or media literacy. Having knowledge literacy skills is essential for success in the digital world. The ability to discover and handle information using information technology efficiently. Any of the characteristics of a knowledge literate person include the ability to objectively analyze and ethically use the information to solve a problem. In conclusion, research and information literacy is something students work on throughout their school career. It's a collection of skills that, when combined, means that a learner is capable to find and understand, evaluate and use information. Interest in information literacy grow out of a need to create learners for the 21st century. If you didn't know, there are 7 stages / elements of information literacy. There are identifying, recognizing information needs, determining sources of information, citing or searching for information, analyzing and evaluating quality information, organizing, storing or archiving information, using information in an ethical, efficient and effective way, creating and communicating new knowledge.
So how does media and information literacy apply to the real world other than our schools? Well, there are 4 things I can think of actually. Number 1 is deciphering whether or not the piece of information that we are reading from the internet or anything digitally is fake or quote-unquote fake news. Number 2, it helps us to think critically when reading. Number 3, it helps us know the latest information, the latest news, instead of relying on outdated sources. And number 4, it helps us understand the context of the literature and information, because rather than taking in the information on how we see it, we instead think on what context or what situation that information applies to. So we'll start with the first one, fake news. Learning media information literacy often or not helps us decipher which is fake and which is legitimate piece of news or information. So the second one will be thinking critically. What this means is that usually information and literature in the internet or any kinds of information online digitally, it requires us to think critically, because the lack of words that they necessarily supply, usually they're very small, and that allows us to think outside the box on what these words represent. The third one, know the latest information and news. It's the most simplest one, because it helps us learn on whether or not to trust the sources or not, because of its recent updates and stuff like that. Any information, we know how to figure out whether or not this information, news, updates, or anything regarding about literature is the most recent published, or maybe it's outdated. And then the fourth one is understanding the context. Understanding the context requires us to think also critically, fact number 2. But instead of doing that, it allows us to know any kind of information, or at least know what kind of the text represent, instead of just reading it out loud and not knowing what it means. From magazines, memes, and anything of the like, it is important to learn about media and information literacy.
My name is Amy, and I'm going to answer at least 2 questions that we ask ourselves once in our life, so pay attention. What do we know about the world? The way we perceive ourselves in relation to the rest of the world influences our behavior and belief. There is no definite way to confirm that we know anything at all. Only from our direct experiences we can claim any knowledge of the world. How many of us ever question the value of what we learn? How many of us give a deep thought to the nature of things that we learn? How many of us ever think of learning anything else beside the outside world? Let me tell you that a very few. The knowledge that you seek outside isn't the goal in your life. It may help you to earn money, make a living, understand things outside you, but it won't help you to seek the true happiness and permanent peace in your life. Why? Because the knowledge of the outside world keeps changing from time to time. And how can anything that keeps changing bring permanent peace and happiness? It simply can't. The greatest knowledge in the world is not what outside, it's what inside you, the knowledge of the self. There is no end to the things that we learn from the outside world. Only true knowledge of the self can help you overcome all your problems in your life, and that's why you should spend every wakeful hour in pursuing the knowledge of the self. Any true knowledge in a field requires you to go deep in that field, explore it, see its practical use. Gaining true knowledge of the self is no different. You understand about this self within you when you explore what's inside you in detail. This exploration is the same as any medical exploration that involves identifying parts of the body. This exploration is more of what you yourself experience to be true within you. Question number 2. How do we get to know what we know about the world? When we come to this world, we are ignorant and don't know how it works. From the moment we start to read and learn, we try to overcome our ignorance by learning as much about the world as we can. Our learning never stops. Each day we learn something new about the world. To most of us, what matters is what the world is made of and how it runs, so we can focus most of our learning on the world that's outside us. We learn new things about this world so that we can make a living and make the right choices in our daily life while dealing with this world around us. We also want to know more about the world so that we can identify our role in. So our whole life, we continue to learn more and more about the world that is outside us. However, we may know about the world that surrounds us through scientific knowledge, through practical research, and the knowledge that makes up the cultural heritage of humanity. What we know about the world is through what every day we are learning in our daily environment.
So the final question is that what is the role of media and information literacy in everyday life? Media and information literacy empowers individuals to show and make educated decisions as clients regarding data and media, just as to become able makers and makers of data and media messages by their own doing. With this, it also allows us to distinguish different varieties of media that cooperate in this particular topic. These include TV, radio, newspapers, and magazines, and more. There are also others like social media, videos, skits, video games, memes, and much more. All of this cooperate with the media and information literacy. Now let's go on the main idea and why, and how we can use this in our everyday life. First of all, this can help us in our daily lives because it allows us to make or visualize the role of media in our own sort of culture. What this means that it really shows us that media is showing us something that revolutionizes society and our whole world. Another is that information literacy is needed for today because it allows us to learn and analyze more about information. Examples are problem solving, thinking skills, research, opinions, facts, decision making, and much more. These certain things allow an individual to learn more and apply the information he or she has learned onto the real world. Learning to think logically and critically is also an example. As I've said a while ago, we are in this generation where everything is so fast and you have to do a lot to keep up. As a child, we've all learned that and taught by parents that by thinking logically and critically can help us in our journey in life. And this one great example for media and information literacy. And lastly, the advantages of media and information literacy for students are various. Above all else, media education assists understudies with turning out to be more shrewd buyers of media, just as dependable makers of their own media. Firstly, instructing media and education assists with encouraging basic intuition in their studies. This kind of reasoning can ultimately turn out to be natural, which will help them in numerous spaces as they become more established. The emphasis is more on fortifying psychical abilities, not substance information. In a bigger setting, media proficiency likewise cultivates the abilities that help individuals cooperate in joint effort since it supports conscious thought and fabricates citizenship abilities. That is all for Group 6. Hopefully you've all enjoyed and thank you for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe in the charity channel of Gurung Blogger ng Kuwait and see you all next time. Bye.